Welcome to my PowerShell video. This is a quick introductory of some PowerShell essential commands that we need to know. First we're going to do is open up PowerShell. You can either click on it to run it normally as your local user, or you can right click on it, run as administrator. If I've got it running as administrator, up at the top left hand corner it says administrator semicolon Windows PowerShell. And if I open up PowerShell in a new tab, then we can see that the local user running PowerShell does not have administrator here the way that this does, because we're not running this one as administrator. So with that information out of the way, the first command we want to bring up is the get help command. Get help, what does it do? Well, first thing it's going to do is ask if we want to update get help. Let's see what happens if we run it in the non-administrative console. In the non-administrator console, we get a different output because the non-administrative local user doesn't have access to run the update by default. So when you run it as administrator, get help is going to be asking if you want to update it because it assumes you're administrator of the machine. When you're not running it as administrator, it's going to assume that you're not an administrator and it's just going to give you local user output. So that's an interesting thing to bring up. So now what is get help? Get help essentially points you to where you can find more information about PowerShell. And of course here it says update help. So how do you update it? Well, by doing that, you have to run it as administrator. And that's what we did over here. So that's cool that it gave you that input. And just some more information about get help. It says that you can run get help with a command. So we're going to be doing that. Now, which brings us to the next command that you need to know is get command. It's going to give you a lot of stuff. And I'm actually just going to do no over here. Let's see if it's different if I run it in administrator mode. I don't think it will be though. Maybe there's more commands, maybe there's not. I have no idea. I'm going to type in clear to clear this out. Again, that's just clear. You can type it as many times as you want. And now get command, if we run this with get help. So let's use our first command with our second command that we just learned. So this is information about get command. We can shorten it to GCM. This is the syntax we want to use with it. This is the full name of it. And here are some remarks and where you can go to find more information. So with that being said, now we know that we could do this and get the same result. What if we do get help and get help? This shows the syntax of how you can use get help. So you can kind of like pair these together. It says aliases is none, but there actually is an alias that's hidden, and it is man. So man is the alias to get help, and you can use this. This get help and get help is the same as man and get help. And it's the same as man. And it's the same if we do man get command with man GCM. Cool, right? So now if we do GCM, we hit enter, it's going to spew out that huge list. What if we just wanted to look up a command? What if we know that our command starts with Azure? Or what if we know that our command starts with test? We can do GCM, and within stars we type in the keyword that we're looking for. And now we get a lot shorter of a list. We get all these commands like test Azure AS, test TTC. What if we want to look for a command that we know about? I mean, we know about get help, right? So let's do GCM man. I think it'll give an error. No, it doesn't. Okay, I guess manage is part of it. What if you do GCM get help? It shows that there. What if we do GCM get command? And we can see that there. It shows the source of it, it shows the command type, it shows the name, and it shows the version that we're using. There's a couple common commands like pwd, which prints the local working directory. Then there's one called ls, which lists all the files in the directory that you're currently in now. So if you were to run a man on pwd, then it were to show us some information on it. And I guess print working directory is actually named get location here in PowerShell. So I didn't know that. That's actually new to me. I thought it was print working directory just like in Linux. But I guess pwd is just an alias for gl, which is get location. And here's the syntax you can use with it. What about ls? If we do man ls, then we can see that ls is also not list like it is in Linux. Here it's get child item. Here's the syntax you can use with it, all the different options. Here are the different aliases. So if we were to type in dir or get child item or ls, we get the same results for all of these commands because they're all the same binary, just different alias pointing to that binary file to run that program, to execute that command. The next command we're going to be talking about with PowerShell is called for each. Now, if we were to get a man on this, let's check out the manual for each object. Here is a syntax that we can use it with, and here are the aliases. So it's either a percent or a for each. So the way that you would use this is we would take a command like print working directory, then you would pipe it into a for each. So you could do a percent or a for each. We're going to do a percent for this example. And then within some braces, we can put in another command like ls. and then we could put in this placeholder like this. Now this placeholder here, I actually have a separate video explaining just what this is. Like it's like an 8-minute long video just explaining what this is. For more information, just navigate to my videos, scroll down, and somewhere within my Linux videos right here, I've got a video called What is this variable placeholder? And it's like an 11-minute video, so hopefully that video has some answers. And if you still don't understand it, feel free to go to the link in the description below to our Discord channel or hit me up on LinkedIn. Maybe I can explain it in better terms that will be more understandable for you. So now with that out of the way, if I were to hit enter here, essentially it's going to combine these two commands together. So it's going to do a pwd and it's going to do an ls, both in one command. So if I were to hit enter, there's some delay there. I don't know, I just spammed enter and it worked now. So yeah, it shows us our print working directory and it shows that ls. So it ran both commands. We see that it's working just fine. So now that we've gone over the essential commands, let's go and create a little script. Just let's say on our desktop, we can do touch. Is touch a thing in? I don't think touch is gonna work. That's like a Linux thing. Let's do test.ps1. Nah. Or is MK a thing in PowerShell? It's not. Okay, so I'll be honest, I didn't know this, but I guess it's new item. So new item, test.ps1. Okay, so now we can grab this item that I put on the desktop, open this up with Notepad, and here we can stick in a little command string that we might use as like a sysadmin processing a task. We could like get process, get member out host dash paging. So if we were to save that and then run this, essentially it's going to get the processes, members, and the hosts. So if I do test.ps1, here we get the name of all the processes, here we get the member type, and then here in the other column we get a definition or kind of like an output of the host. And since we did the paging option, we can hit space for the next page. Another way we could do this kind of similar command is doing member type and properties. So if we were to run that one again, then we don't have the paging anymore, and we got member type in this one. And now those are kind of pretty simple things. So how do we check out like the disk space? Well, you can do get CIM instance dash class win32 logical disk, and then we could do select object property name free space. So if we were to save this and run this command, it's going to give us, basically it'll show us the name and the free space with these two, and it's going to give back the information from this location. So if we hit enter, shows that we have this much free space left, and this is in bits, I believe. Another way we can edit this is if we open this with, let's say, Visual Studio Code, we can expand on this a bit more. So let's say after this pipe, we hit an indentation like that, and then we do select object, property name, that's fine. But then what if after name, we wanted to pass through some extra parameters, like some braces, and we could do label, free space, and then expression. We can put this into some braces and parentheses. And then we're going to be using this placeholder here, free space, 1 GB to string, F2. You'll see what this does in a second. So now if I were to save this, then go back to the command line, run that script again, then now you're seeing that this has just organized our free space to show that we now have 114 gigabytes of free space left. So that's pretty cool because now we kind of have like a block command going on. And you could take this command and pass it through here like that, or you could just write it in a program. So that's pretty much my introduction to PowerShell. I hope you found some value from this video, and I'd like to thank you for watching.